So today I want to share about one particular news, that is Gaza war coming to an end. Is it coming to an end? This is the question mark. So we are going to actually address this issue today. Now, in the past, I've already talked about this Gaza war thing, and I've in the I think the report is probably about 2 months ago, right? I mentioned that from a historical perspective, only US really has the strength, the political clout, as well as whatever to convince Israel to actually stop the war. Okay, and today, in fact, when surprisingly, just a couple of hours ago, CNN has reported that not Hamas, sorry, Israel has agreed to some of the hostage release negotiations offered by Hamas, and Hamas usually will take about 2 to 3 days to reply. So let's hope things come to a good conclusion. So what really happened is that the Biden administration is currently under significant scrutiny for its perceived inability to curb Israel's retaliatory actions in Gaza. Okay, and amid escalating violence with a death toll surpassing 30,000. President Joe Biden and his team expressed deep concern over the humanitarian crisis unfolding. Israel reluctance to permit sufficient humanitarian aids for the displaced Palestinian population has only added to the administration's frustrations. Yeah. So, in response, President Biden has paused the supply of US arms to Israel, a strategic move aiming to bring Israel to the negotiating table. Okay. So this is one good step. Now, this diplomatic tension has led to Israel's intelligence chief planning a trip to Qatar for ceasefire talks, right? While the US pushes for a UN Security Council resolution demanding an immediate halt to hostilities. Now, Secretary of State Antony Blinken, speaking in Cairo, highlighted the potential for ceasefire through mediation efforts involving the US, Qatar, and Egypt. The discussions in Qatar are focusing on a 6-week truce, propose an exchange of 40 Israel hostages for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners, which could facilitate much-needed humanitarian aid into Gaza amidst looming famine threats. So tomorrow probably will be we have clearer data to see whether this thing here can turn into something even better or not, because the news today is just a flash news that came on CNN that they have agreed, right? But the details is yet to be ironed out. We want to see that. Okay, so right now, the stumbling block is this: the significant impasse remains that Hamas insists on a deal that could end the conflict entirely, whereas Israel prefers to negotiate a temporary halt. Okay, so according to a Palestinian official familiar with the talks, Hamas has shown willingness to compromise, yet Israel hesitates, unwilling to agree to a definitive end to the Gaza war. Now, the prospect of peace remains uncertain, raising questions about whether Israel, under Prime Minister Netanyahu's leadership, will yield to US demands to conclude the ongoing conflict or not. Now, in the past, foreign leaders who were able to defy US pressure did it because they were not dependent on American support. Okay, so this is the key point over here. The article saying that Netanyahu might not listen, but if you look into this, the past, foreign leaders were able to defy because they're not dependent on American support, because each believed they had more to lose by complying than hanging tough, right? So you study into detail, but overall we cannot say because of this US will 100%, the Israel will 100% listen, but politics is politics. It's oversimplistic to assume that a mere phone call from President Biden coupled with threats of withdrawing US aid, would compel Israel to align with American directives. Prime Minister Netanyahu, known for his resilience, has withstood American pressure on several occasions, though not consistently. Yeah. So this is something that you'll need to know. So a thorough analysis reveals that the provision of economic and military assistance, diplomatic protection, and other benefits afford significant leverage to a patron nation, especially when it holds near monopoly of such aid. So when I'm referring to patron nation in this particular sharing right here, I'm referring to US in terms of being a patron to Israel. Now, this leverage right over here is mitigated if the client state can secure similar support elsewhere, values of contentious issues more than its relationship with the patron, or if the patron is unable to withdraw support due to domestic and institutional barriers. Now, these are the things that we need to see. Now, can Israel actually secure similar support elsewhere? This is not an easy thing. We have seen so far that they have failed. They know they're having a bit of trouble right now. Unlike previous clash, this times they are branding whatever Israel is doing as a genocide, right? So so as long as Israel values the more than contested issue more than relationship, then they won't listen. But what are the chances over here? Okay, so whether there are institutional barriers or not, this so far, US is not mentioning anything. We can assume there is some, but not to the point where Israel can do whatever they want, right? So all in all, despite a lesser dependency on US support compared to past decades, right, Israel continues to rely heavily on US military supplies and diplomatic backing, particularly evident in US Security Council vetoes and pressure on other nations to abstain from criticizing Israel. So now Biden has already cut this military supplies already. So now Israel has no choice but to come to a negotiation table. So the progress that we are seeing, that there is this possibility that Israel has to actually comply. They have to listen. This is not like before. Okay, this war has lasted long enough, and I think it should come to a sensible end already. So the indispensability of the US support to Israel suggests that American influence remain significant. This is what I'm saying. So at present, determining which party possesses greater resolve is challenging. Despite Netanyahu's declining domestic popularity, public opinion in Israel largely supports the military actions in Gaza, with even Netanyahu's political adversaries maintaining their support. Yeah? So the Gaza crisis has tarnished the US global reputation, portraying the Biden administration as both indifferent and ineffective. Okay, and the situation not only undermines the US standing on the world stage, but also poses a potential threat to President Biden's prospects for re-election, providing an additional impetus for the US to adopt a firmer stance in seeking a resolution to the conflict. Now, if you remember in the previous article, I did say one thing. US will step in when two things happen. Either it is detrimental for them politically, that this war continues, they will step in hard, based on the research I did in past conflicts, right? And second thing, you can see also very clearly that as long as the war goes on, it's actually hurting President Biden politically as well. Okay, as seeing him as somebody, a president who is not adamant, not strong enough, and that's not something the Biden wants to portray for the time being. So this is one thing you need to understand. So if they can settle this, it's a good thing. Then I believe the economy will start recovering after this, and all you need to next is to settle the Ukrainian-Russian war. Okay, so that's the end of the financial report for today, the fundamental